MTN, Airtel, Glo, and Now Mobile lost over 3.5 million data subscribers in March 2021, according to information obtained from the Nigerian Communications Commission. The total number of subscribers of the four main telecommunications outfits dropped from over 148 million at the end of February 2021 to over 144 million at the end of March 2021. The decline in the number of telco subscribers could be attributed to the recent suspension of SIM card sales and registration as Nigerians grapple with the stress of registering and obtaining their national identification numbers. MTN Nigeria lost a total of 1.27 million data subscribers at the end of March. Airtel Nigeria, on the other hand, lost a total of 1.17 million data subscribers between February 2021 and March 2021. Our first discussion now. In its continued efforts aimed at addressing the myriad of challenges facing Nigerian highways, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, in collaboration with Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, conceptualized the Highway Development and Management Initiative, HDMI, to facilitate the development of parts of Nigeria's 35,000 kilometers of federal highway network by bringing order, efficiency, accountability, and profitable entrepreneurship to operations, management, and maintenance of all assets within the right-of-way. The HDMI, which is another public-private partnership approach to improving road infrastructure in Nigeria, like the tax credit scheme and the Sukuk bond, is another pillar of the present administration's commitment to sustainable development of Nigerian economy through robust infrastructure upgrade. So far, about 75 construction companies have bidded for the concession of the 12 federal highways under the HDMI scheme earmarked for the first phase and were carefully selected for commercial viability and equitable spread across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. To give insights into this and, of course, its impact on Nigerians and, of course, the economy at large, I have an expert public policy analyst and executive director, DMA Advisory and Management Services Limited. Is in the house, Mr. Bola Olojede. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you join us to discuss this very important topic. Let's start off with the establishment of this bidding process.
Correct.
And of course, the turn involved in your view, robust procurement process that attract capable concessionaries. Now, your thoughts along this line first. What does this really mean? Take us through what the HDMI stands for.
The HDMI, which is a Highway Development and Management Initiative. It's a PPP initiative initiated by the Ministry of Works and Housing in conjunction with other critical stakeholders like the ICRC.
Yes.
That's the Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission. It is clear that the resources of the government is no longer enough to meet the needs. Let's look at 2020. Though 2020 numbers may not represent a proper one, but it's still good to touch on it. The retained revenue of the federal government of Nigeria for 2020 was 3.97 trillion. Whereas the non-debt recurrent expenditure was 4.65 trillion. So essentially, we could not even cover our own non-debt recurrent expenditure in 2020.
Yes.
So where is the money? So we must, meanwhile, while that is going on, you now have a situation in which anytime the government comes out and say, oh, I'm doing this bond, come and give me 150 billion market will give him 300 billion. So he will now be the one to say, okay, I will only take this much, I will return the rest back to the investor. So there's a disconnect somewhere there. The government does not have enough money, which is why it goes borrowing. But the private sector had access to money. Can we create a nexus between the source of this money and the source that needs the money and use it for our developmental purposes? I think this must have been at the heart of what is driving this. Some years ago when I was in healthcare, I know I would try to do some PPPs, calling in the late Chidi now, to work on some of this stuff. And it's a fairly tough terrain. And it requires a whole lot. But when you look at the ICRC Act, it was in the course of those days that I was able to sit down and read the Act. It's a very robust Act with processes detailed out on what to follow to ensure that you can concession successfully when you need to do so. So if you ask me, the need to bring private capital to finance infrastructure has become very critical. The need to bring the capacity, the efficiency of the private sector to manage stuff has become very important. This, in my opinion, may be what the HDMI is trying to achieve.
The critical component of all of this is also funding, which you've identified. The private sector, I think, a little bit has that part to do that. But let's highlight the rationale behind this engagement with private sector with focus on this. How is this initiative really structured?
Okay, I got to know about it sometimes in March, I think at the end of March, when they were trying to, I think, launching the RFQ then, and there was a website. So someone has invited me virtually that, oh, there's this launch, or you may want to attend, because he knows I'm passionate about infrastructure. And I joined, and I was like, all these government affairs, I'm not really a fan of government events. They are like jamborees to me. So they mentioned some stuff. Oh, this RFQ, this is DMI, this is the dedicated website. And I said, okay, I will check out the website. So I went to that link, the HDMI link. And what I saw there impressed me, and have kept me interested in this particular program. Now, when you go to that site, you will see, of course, the list of the roads they are trying to concession.
Yes.
You will see the partners they're working with. So you see the KPMG, there's a UK organization, yes. There's a Lagos Business School. Yes. You see the partners there. Yes. You will see a detailed 93-page information memorandum talking about the 12 roads, from the traffic information to... So when you see this, and you understand infrastructure concession, it spurs your interest. Two critical things to infrastructure concession. One is the transparency of the process and the credibility. It looks as if when you think of what they're trying to do, they're trying to bring that credibility and transparency into the space. So the RFQ is there. You can go there. You can see what does it take. Do I qualify? If I qualify, the form is there. You can log in and then begin to put in your information. Right there. You want to see, oh, what are the details of this thing I'm even trying to enter into? So you can go in there and also fill in your detail and submit the report. So looking at it from that perspective, I think they are serious. And I see they're also following that ICRC robust, talk about certificate of compliance, okay. The outline business case, and all of that. They follow that as well. So it got me as a person interested in what they're trying to do.
Let's now look at the perspective of investing private sector into this kind of business. Now, how investment, let me call it business now. Now, how will you earn, let's look at return on investment.
Correct.
Because that's very important. We always put our money where our mouth is.
Of course, when you bring private sector
yes.
into a place, they're not charity organizations. So the issue of returns will always be there. But what I see with this project, which gives me some comfort, is look, on one end, you can decide that, oh, my ROI is going to come from, I'm just going to toll this thing. Since I have an idea of how many vehicles go there, use this route, then I can calculate how much I can make in a day or in a year, and then over the concession period, and what is my return? I can go that way. But this is also a concession of an entire right-of-way. So the opportunity for other services are huge. And don't forget, the value-added concession is just part of the thing. You also have the unbundled asset approval, as well as what they call the vendor market. So those are all opportunities that go way beyond tolling. Tolling is one, it will always be in the mix, but it doesn't have to be the one in the front. That's the way I look at that
And now also there are also concerns, of course, when things like this pop up, particularly when business running into like trillions of naira.
Correct.
So some are saying this might be opportunities for foreign organizations to take charge, and indigenous companies will now stay behind.
One thing, do we want foreign money?
Well, we need FX.
We need foreign money.
We need it. I was talking about reserves just earlier now.
You're talking about reserve. So honestly, if people are willing to bring foreign money, we should be willing to take. That is on one side. But on the other side is the fact that when you look at that market, the vendor marketplace, you will see that it is almost 100% targeted at the local market. Because those service providers, nobody is coming from the UK to come and provide a mechanic garage or a trailer park for you. So those are totally local. Then the unbundled asset also is going to be largely local because it has been unbundled, so it makes people to be able to take little bites, unlike the main concession itself, which will be fairly large. So the unbundled asset approval gives opportunities for Nigerians who don't have to go and look for $1 trillion to participate in that. The same thing is the vendor market. And then the concession, I think I saw something in one of the reports saying Julius Berger was a bidder. Dantata and Sao was a bidder. Those are Nigerian organizations as well. So while we want foreign money, we can't run away from money. The opportunities are huge for our local people to participate. And as a matter of fact, in the usual formation of consortiums, you have local organizations partnering with foreign ones to form a consortium. So those are also incidences that will be there. If I am a financial guy and I want a technical guy, and I think that technical guy has done some great stuff in another country, we come together, we form a consortium, and we bid together. It could also be the other way around. I have the technical, I know the local terrain, you have the money, we come together and we do this.
Interesting. Still talking about doubts here now. Yes. There's also some arguments in the air looking at private investment. Also, we talked about that where we wanted to privatize the power sector.
Correct.
And all that happened. And up till now, we're still hovering between 4,000 megawatts and population continues to increase. And all of that to let us go. But now, your thoughts, if you had to put this side by side, what are your thoughts with this very initiative?
It's something that should concern everybody to say, oh, look, we privatized the electricity space, and we've not seen the dividends. But you see, it goes back to something I mentioned earlier. And this is from studies across, especially the emerging markets in the world. When you do concession, credibility and transparency are very important. So I never saw, for example, the traffic information that informs, say, the LLC, the other one in Lagos State. I never saw it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, So what I believe the Ministry of Works and Housing is trying to achieve is that look at all the flaws in those other concessions and see how we can follow through the rules. There shouldn't be any hurry. Make it transparent, make it credible. Once people can believe in the process, it is easier to put stakeholders across the table and tell them why we need to do what we need to do. But when they are not sure of what you're trying to do, there's a problem somewhere there. There's a problem. But in this case, like I said, the information memorandum is a 93-page document. It's still on that website. Right there, to show you this is what we're trying to do, this is what it means to us. So if the ministry can sustain this level of transparency, and the regulator in this case, because regulator has a key role to play, I'll say, can also sustain the good work that has been put into this so far, we should be able to avoid the kind of situation we find ourselves in this court, in which people probably even bought those things without paying. We don't know. I think there was even a disco that walked away and said, oh, now like this, CB, I'll not do it again. And he dropped it and left. Yes. So did that person, that particular bidder, did he meet the technical and financial capability test under the bidding process for the disco? It's a question to ask ourselves. But if someone has both technical and financial capability, which is what the Ministry of War is trying to achieve with this, we should get the comfort, we should get the transparency, we should get the credibility, we should get the assurance that if followed through, this should work. This might just open the door with this 5.6% that they're trying to do.
Now, that would be a really good one. Now, taking potentials to reality. Now, how different is the HDMI from other infrastructural program of the federal government?
Okay, I know you mentioned the tax credit, for example, which is what Dangote is doing.
Yes, on the Apapa-Oshodi Express. Now, the quality of that road.
Fantastic quality. I live in Anthony, so I passed that road. I knew when the road was being done.
Honestly.
You know, and the quality that was put into it,
give that to the private sector.
Is something that we must look at how we can expand it, bring even other participators into that space to use it to develop some of our roads. So this is one of the options that have been used. There is a Sukuk bond, which was basically a financing option to also fix some of the projects. But you see, the HDMI brings on board an additional value. It says development and management. That management part of it is critical. We've had fantastic roads in Nigeria that looks good for 2 years. And after the 2 years, because of poor management, there were failures on those roads. Journeys that would have been 1 hour became 2 hours, and nothing happened. The window became insecure by virtue of poor management. I got robbed on Lagos Ibadan before. And so these are the things that I believe makes the HDMI a unique opportunity when stacked beside some of the other options that we have used in the past. If we follow it through, honestly, and we're able to unlock that 5.6, I think we will be willing to do more along that HDMI window.
Of course, if the impact, definitely, we must definitely do more if that really works. But it's really looking very interesting. I'm getting to understand. I'm sure Nigerians are also getting to understand this. Now, another thing that Nigerians would love to talk about is job creation.
Oh, yeah.
We know what's happening now. The last figures from the MBS, 33.3%.
We're not very cool.
We are not doing very well, coupled with inflation and all that we grapple with. This is projected to create about 250,000 jobs.
Correct.
How feasible is this?
Construction, anything that, this is construct, build, operate, and transfer. Anything that involves construction is a job spinner. It's a well-known fact. And it goes from the high-level job, the high-skilled job of the architect, the engineers, it goes to the middle one like the project managers, all the way to the masons and carpenters. And those are direct jobs. Apart from those direct jobs, it will spin off things like the woman that supplies drinking water to them, the food that comes to them, and a few other economy will be built around just that construction alone. Now, after the construction period, when operations start, okay, I've built a trailer park, and it has now started to operate. When I was building the trailer park, I will need all these jobs. When the trailer park is ready, there will still be jobs, because it has to be operated. So it's a job spinner. There is no doubt about that. And when you look at the multiplier effect of bringing £1 trillion or more than £1 trillion into the economy, and part of this £1 trillion will go as disposable income to these workers, as they spend, they create this multiplier effect. Because they are spending, they are creating demand for goods and services in the course of their spending. So when I used to sell 5 plantain chips and the demand has suddenly gone up to 10, then my manufacturer will get a kick that, look, the demand is higher, produce more. Production. So it is something that if we keep it as it is, we sustain it, the kind of tempo we have started with, it will spin those jobs.
Almost finally, I'm also looking at other sectors can even tap into this very beautiful initiative. The management part now, is it like the facility management thing that we talk about, managing infrastructure is something that is key in this country.
Correct.
For a long time, we've not been really doing that. So are you saying that this scheme, this initiative, would put that into, is going to be part of it in context?
It's an integral part of what this, the expertise that we're bringing, or that this project is meant to bring from the private sector, the management. If you stay in a managed apartment or office complex, it's easy to understand. I don't have to think about NEPA. I don't think about water. Those things are delivered. True. And I'm happy.
So, almost like what more do you think we need to know about HDMI? You know, we've talked a lot about it and the positives of it, but what more do you think Nigerians need to understand about this process?
So some of the things that, you know, gets me worried sometimes will include, will the regulatory environment, because people believe that NERC did not supervise the discourse appropriately.
True.
But it's fairly more complex than that, you know. Just part of the thing that government was also supposed to do on its own part, it has not done it. So it becomes, it starts getting difficult to want to hold the other party to their own when your own you're not committed to it. I know the late engineer Chidi very well, and the passion with which he has approached literally anything he sets his hands upon. And I see, I hope and I want to believe that ICRC will rise up to that occasion when it comes to regulating. It's not just about, after the concession is done, we now fold our hands, and the concessionaire gets, you know, they're not playing their own part. If ICRC stay on the lane and ensure that the contract as signed are monitored for compliance, and all the parties do their part, this will be something that will unlock the space of bringing private capital to infrastructure development in Nigeria.
It's a good way to live here. So 75 construction companies are bidded for 12 federal highways in this very scheme. That's for the first phase, and it's equitably spread across the 6 geopolitical zones. Let's see how all of this plays up. It's really good to have you join us explaining this, making more sense of it. I've been speaking to an expert public policy analyst. He's also the executive director at DMA Advisory and Management Service Limited, Mr. Bolan Olojede. Thank you very much for joining us on Business Nigeria. We'll follow up with this, and we hope to have you again as the process continues.
I will be following up on this myself.
Good.
It's something I'm passionate about. I want to see how it all pans out.
All right.
I will wish the ministry good luck.
All right then.